Tough year for startups seeking funding, but despite that, promising ideas are still able to access capital. Barclays, an Unreasonable group, an investment firm that takes stakes in growth stage businesses, are today hosting an annual event to which they've invited 25 of the most promising high growth ventures from around the world dedicated to solving global challenges. Well, joining me now are Daniel Hanna, he's Global Head of Sustainable Finance for Barclays Corporate and Investment Bank, and Daniel Epstein, Founder and Chief Executive of Unreasonable Group. Welcome to you both. Daniel Epstein, let me start with you. What sort of businesses have you asked along today?
Yeah, thank you, Ian, for the opportunity. Today we're welcoming, as you mentioned, 25 of the entrepreneurs that we're supporting, and they're looking at everything from the future of food waste and how to prevent it to rapidly increasing our availability to renewable energy. I'm looking at how we can make new products out of pollution. I am through biofermentation. So really advanced technologies at the nexus of impact, profit, and sustainability.
And you're not seeing any shortage of potential backers for these types of activity?
Specifically for companies that baked into the DNA of their profit model, they're solving a meaningful problem? No. Through this partnership with Barclays, we call it Unreasonable Impact, we're supporting a portfolio of 310 ventures, and they've raised over $12 billion in financing. The markets have gotten tighter, but I think the investor appetite and interest in sustainably oriented businesses is really here to last, and we're seeing that come back.
Well, Daniel Hanna, let me bring you in. I mean, Barclays has been involved in this programme since 2016, I think. How much do you typically provide in support for a business?
So I think we are very much focused around how we can help companies take ideas all the way up to IPOs. And there's many different ways that we do that. The Unreasonable partnership, as you mentioned, going since 2016, has been a really critical part of doing that. But we've also committed £500 million that we're investing in early stage companies. Some of those have graduated through Unreasonable. So, for example, British innovation success story Brill Power, which really looks at how it maximizes the use of batteries and therefore reduces battery waste. Or another company, 80 Acres, which uses vertical farming to reduce water usage by 99%, 100% renewable powered. And actually, we were able to partner with them to showcase their strawberries at Wimbledon earlier this year. So I think we're very much committed to this space, and we see a huge opportunity to support the UK and internationally grow climate tech.
I imagine this is quite high-risk lending for an organisation like Barclays compared with a lot of the traditional enterprises to which you provide support.
Yeah, so I think this is early-stage technologies, and so that's why we work with Unreasonable as a partnership to really help build those ventures, give them support, not really just in terms of money, but actually in terms of access to ecosystem, investors, and broader sort of networks that can really help scale their technologies. The £500 million that we invest as equity, we tend to take board seats, work very closely with those companies, and really try and understand how we can kind of help scale them and accelerate their progress. In terms of the lending that we do, it tends to be much more established projects. So, for example, we supported Moray West, which is a big wind farm off Scotland that eventually is going to power 50% of Scotland's electricity through wind. So I think it is different types of risk. We have different tools, different ways of supporting to really try and grow this opportunity.
Daniel Epstein, I mean, this is often referred to as impact investing. Do investors have to sort of take a longer investment horizon or accept lower returns?
Yeah, that's a great question, Ian. And I think there's a misconception in the market that quote-unquote impact investing is concessionary. We really believe that it's not just that you can do well and do good at the same time, but that actually you can maximize financial return or alpha by focusing on solutions that are solving problems that are more valued by the market because they're harder to solve. So we've seen the inverse. We see the portfolio of companies that we are supporting outperform common venture capital and private equity statistics in terms of return profile.
And Daniel Hanna, back to you. I gather you're taking part in COP28 in the near future. What are your expectations for the event?
Well, one thing, sorry, and apologies to interrupt, I was just going to add to what Daniel was saying. If you look at the state of venture capital and private equity, it has suffered over the last 12 months. We've seen overall volumes drop, but at the same time, the amount of capital going towards climate tech has actually increased. So if anything, we're seeing during tough times, investors are really looking at this big secular trend of decarbonisation, of the opportunity that things like circular economy presents, and actually pivoting towards that. Transactions are still happening. They are taking longer to happen, but we're still seeing a lot of investor interest. And to your question around COP, I think one of the big areas of focus is how we are going to be able to take renewables, for example, which has grown fivefold since the Paris Agreement, and triple that even further. So how we sort of scale renewables, more established climate technologies, and then how we tackle what are called these sort of hard-to-abate sectors, these really difficult industries. How do we decarbonize things like steel, agriculture? And that's where this next wave of climate technology is going to be so critical to really drive that change.
OK, gentlemen, we have to leave it there. Thanks for joining me both today. Appreciate it.